Welcome back. Menopause Energized 30-day Healthy Heart Marathon, day 5. Hey, you guys, welcome back to day 5. This is Sheila with the Menopause Energized program. So glad you guys could join me. Let's keep this going until the end of the 30 days. Today, we are going to talk about congestive heart failure. Yesterday, we discussed hypertension, which is really important in the menopausal years. So I felt for it to flow again into the next day. We're going to talk about CHF, congestive heart failure. That is one of the things that can come from long-standing high blood pressure. Why is this important? I'm going to go through this probably almost every day because cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in women from problems like this. So today we're going to talk about congestive heart failure. We're going to do a little backtrack a little bit the other day and review something real quickly here. And let me get to that. We're going to just review what goes on with the heart as far as congestive heart failure. Remember I told you the hardest working part of the heart, and it deserves a reward, is the left side of the heart. Remember 4 chambers of the heart, right side and left side, right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. What happens with congestive heart failure? That the fluid and that comes back up from the system starts to accumulate in this area because whatever the reason is going on, whether it's from long-standing hypertension, whether it's something wrong with these valves that we talked about the other day, your heart is going to have a hard time pumping and eventually it gets weak. And so you'll start seeing what you call an enlarged heart because the fluid cannot pump out of the heart like it should because the heart is now weak. So today we are going to talk about that holding back fluid, congestive heart failure. So let's get to that. As soon as I can find my page, because this is all the stuff that we've talked about this week. Okay, here we go. All right, so long-standing high blood pressure affects the arteries. What happens? We're talking about high blood pressure today. There are other things that can cause congestive heart failure. We're talking about the heart today with congestive heart failure. What happens when you have a long-standing hypertension, especially for the ones like we talked about yesterday that goes undetected? You don't even know that you've been sitting around with your blood pressure elevated for years. It takes a toll on the heart. It takes a toll on the arteries and the vessels of the heart. And what happens after over a time, those arteries stiffen and it no longer can compensate. It'll compensate for a long time. That's why I told you our body is our protector. Our body can take a lot. It can take a lot. But after a while, it can only take but so much. You wear it out. You have abused it. And so what it does, it stiffens. And those arteries are not working as they should. And so it cannot pump out the blood, and what the oxygen, of course, comes with the blood into the circulation. 70 to 75% of people that have high blood pressure is more at risk. I didn't say you would get it. More at risk for congestive heart failure. That's a 3 to a 3.5 times fold because hypertension is long-standing is one of the main reasons for congestive heart failure. There are others, but today we're just talking about the hypertension and the congestive heart failure. Now, this is a really important thing. Remember I told you yesterday or the other day, when I want you to really remember something to write it down, I'll give you that signal of a heart. Here we go. Symptoms will be shortness of breath, edema in your lower extremities, fatigue, anemia, and one other thing I forgot to put here, yes, palpitations. Now, remember I told you to try to put all this stuff in perspective. If you just have palpitations, that don't mean that you have congestive heart failure. You have to put in perspective because people get palpitations for certain reasons and they can be benign palpitations and it don't amount to anything. But if you find yourself having all these symptoms together, shortness of breath, why the shortness of breath? Because the lungs are not able to pump out the fluid. Remember I told you the other day, and I don't think I have that here with me now, but the heart is sandwiched in between your two lungs. And so I don't have my diagram, but it's sandwiched in between your two lungs. So with that being said, sometimes what goes on the heart goes on with the lung. So that fluid starts to spill into the lungs, kind of suffocates you a little bit, and you can't breathe. If you have that with edema in your lower extremities, again, it comes from the circulatory system being off as far as pumping out fluid, what we talked about the other day. Then what happens down in that interstitial space, the fluid starts to leak out, and then you start getting swelling in that area. You don't just have, see, a lot of people think you have swelling just in your ankles, but that swelling, if your heart is not pumping efficiently, can occur anywhere. You can have it in your belly. It can have other parts of your body, it dissipates too. But the main thing the doctor checks for, of course, that they can see is the external part, the extremities. Fatigue and anemia. Sometimes anemia comes along with the congestive heart failure, only due because of the circulation again and the blood flow carrying the red blood cells. And so that's the reason why you may feel fatigue. And also the muscles now are not getting that right supply of oxygen, oxygenated rich blood, I should say. And so the muscles get fatigued, and that can make you feel tired as well. And then the palpitations I just talked about. Yes, you can have palpitation. A lot of reasons for that again. But one reason is in your heart, there's like a conduction system where everything when your heart is good, it's just working fine. You know, your pulse is at a normal rate. It's sending the signals in right. But when that conduction, something interferes with that conduction system, like a lot of fluid buildup in the heart, it's going to interrupt it. It's going to say, wait a minute. And it's going to interrupt it. So with that being said, it can't send the signals in the way it wants. So it may be a little irregularity there, and that's when you feel the palpitation. If you have persistent palpitation, always get it checked out. If you have any of these symptoms that are together like this, you need to get it checked out by your physician. The other thing I want to talk about just briefly is salt intake. I won't go a lot in nutrition like I'll say every day. I have a free PDF down below. Just click on the link and you'll get a, it really talks about a healthy gut, but in that PDF, I also give a 7-day meal plan, and that 7-day meal plan is good as well as far as decreased salt intake. And if you really want to get a thorough nutritional kind of like just a little more detail, of course, than what we're going here today, I do have another video called How to Maintain a Healthy Gut. But in that video, look for that. I do talk about the salt intake, and I go into it in more details. And also, the salt intake is so important for people, more important for people that have congestive heart failure. I don't know if there's anybody on this video this evening that has congestive heart failure, because my videos are made for if you have these conditions or if you don't. It's for both. But for congestive heart failure, we all should be watching our salt. I have a salt shaker and a pepper shaker on my counter that I never use, but I love the way they look. I love little salt shakers with nice little designs, but I never touch it and add additional salt to my food. But I lost track, so let me get back to what I was saying. But you should not be at this stage in your life, in the menopausal stage, be adding any extra table salt to your food. I know that's hard. The reason for that is that, of course, that can lead to high blood pressure, too much salt. But if you already have congestive heart failure, your doctor will probably most likely put you on a salt restriction. And then for the ones that the heart failure is not really good at all, they will also put you on a fluid restriction. Not everybody is on a fluid restriction, but if the doctors feel like you need to be on one, they will. The reason for that is when you take in water, a lot of water holds on to salt. And so not only that, but when you're taking a lot of water, it's building up volume. Think about it. When you drink all this water, you're building up volume. And with congestive heart failure, your heart is already weak, and it can't really handle that extra water. give you one little example. I'm going to try to always go back to some of my nursing stories as well. We had a patient that come in, and mind you, that when patients do not have a lot of money and they're on a fixed income, they eat what they have available. And so when they come up with these issues, come in the hospital with things that we know they shouldn't have did, I don't judge them. They have to eat what they can afford. They can't starve to death. But we had a guy that came in that was on a budget, tight budget. The only thing he had to eat at home was a can of spaghetti. Well, the can of spaghetti, I believe you guys, I think can have something somewhere like 1,500 milligrams of sodium. That is a no-no for a person that has congestive heart failure. If you're watching your blood pressure as well, you should not take a whole can of spaghetti in. And he went into full-blown congestive heart failure. So, of course, we had to treat with diuretics and things like that. So, yes, be careful with the salt. Sometimes the doctor will do an echocardiogram to see how your heart is working. They'll do like an ultrasound echocardiogram and look at all 4 chambers of your heart, especially the left ventricle, because that's the one that's responsible for really pumping out things and making everything go the way it should. And they can tell you how well your heart is working and give you what you call a percentage of your ejection fraction. And that tells you how well your heart is pumping. We won't go into that. We probably will go into that another time. So, healthy tips here, because I won't hold you long. Healthy tips. Of course, what is the first one going to be? Manage your blood pressure. Take control now. Remember I told you each time you come out of one of these sessions, there's something you can take away today to start trying to improve heart health. So, blood pressure is one. We just talked about it. Watch your salt intake. I go into complete detail of how to read nutritional labels. I call it decoding nutritional labels, because people, I'm telling you, they're not that they're giving you false information on these labels. They're making it very complicated to read and interpret what is really going on. And if you misinterpret those values on those labels, you will put yourself in a lot of trouble thinking that you're reading one thing when it really means another. So in our Menopause Energized program, if you go to my website, www.menopauseenergized.com, we do have a 3-week nutritional program where we talk about first week on controlling blood sugar, second week of controlling high blood pressure, and third week of controlling cholesterol. And we decode those labels where you can understand it. So the next time you go to the market as Sherlock Holmes with your magnifying glass, you'll know exactly what you're looking at. Let's go to the next one. Moving around, you have to move. Main reason is if you have a job where you're sitting for 8 hours a day and that job is stressful and you got to sit there and get that work done because you have to meet your quota, don't matter what quota you have to meet. Get up and move and move. If you don't get up but so frequently, at least prop your feet up while you're working. It does help to get that fluid moving back up into the heart, back out, back up into the heart, instead of just sitting there. But again, if you have problem with persistent edema in your extremities, yes, you need to see your doctor. We already talked about diet. I already told you about the diet in the program, so we won't go into that. Sleep counts a lot as well. When you don't get enough sleep, it puts a strain on your heart. I'm not saying getting enough sleep will cause congestive heart failure. I'm just saying it kind of just helps to keep everything in proportion. And then managing stress, which we will talk about eventually down the line before the 30 days are out. That's going to be one session, is stress. We have a lot, some of us now. I'm telling you all this stuff because it was my journey, and I am trying to help other women to get hold and get control of what's going on in their menopausal years as far as their health. So we will talk about managed stress later. But again, listen to the warning signs: shortness of breath, edema in extremities, palpitations. And I forgot the other one. Did I tell you? It should be 3 or 4. Listen to those warning signs. And then, of course, there are people that's going to be put on medication if they do have congestive heart failure. Of course, there's going to be people that be put on hypertension. Put on medicines for hypertension. But there are medications out here for congestive heart failure, and we all know of one that we hear all the time, Lasix. Then there's another one called Bumex. And then there's also one called Aldosterone. yeah, aldosterone, that's another one they use. Ladies, I'm not here to scare you at all, to make you feel fearful and feel like every time you get off of one of these sessions, you have to look at this and look at that and monitor that. All I'm trying to do, ladies, because I don't do any diagnosing on these videos, all I'm trying to do is make you aware. The more aware you are, the more you know what to look at, the more, to me, you will have control of your health. Now, this is the thing. If someone say it's really not hard work, it is hard work. It's hard work like anything else. Hard work, when you take charge of your health, it is hard work, but it is worth it at the end. The reason why some people are not as much to try to get this done because they're not motivated. If you don't have the motivation there, how do you get someone to start taking their health more seriously? And I'm hoping I'm waking some of you guys waking up from this, because hopefully I'm getting some of you guys who've kind of fallen asleep on this matter, cardiovascular disease in menopausal women, I hope. But yes, it does take hard work, and you have to be motivated. With our 8-week live coaching program coming up in a couple of months on Zoom, where we all get together and talk and coach again, we build it on a holistic approach. We start from the head and work our way all the way down to the feet in the 8 weeks. And the foundation on the first week is getting women motivated. You cannot go nowhere unless you have that motivation to get started. Also, in my program, just throughout, I teach about persistence. Yes, consistency is important, but sometimes you will drop off that bandwagon. And what you do is, the persistent part of it is that you get back on and you try again. That's what I try to teach in my program. Not all just about consistency, but just being persistent that you're going to reach your goal. You guys, it is nobody's responsibility but us to take control of our health. You can have your babysitter take care of the children. You can have someone to clean your house. There is no one, when I say no one, can take care of your health and be responsible for your health but you. So you reap what you invest. And what I mean by that, the more you invest, the greater your return. You have people that put little deposits in the bank here and there to grow wealth. Well, when you take and deposit little tips of information into your health, you will get a great return. So that is it for today. I didn't want to keep you too long, but please like, comment, and share, and subscribe, because even after the 30 days is over, I will constantly still be on YouTube. Again, check my website out, www.menopauseenergized.com. And also, if you into the emotional part of menopause, the roller coaster ride, I am the author of Beyond the Footprints of Menopause. It is a powerful book. It's my journey and how I can get you to where you need to go as well. So check that out on Amazon as well. Until the next time, tomorrow, which will be what? Day 6. Take care of your health. See you tomorrow.